hello and welcome to another Stephen Allen Almost Daily. I'm Stephen Allen, and this is a day. What more could you possibly want? By the way, hang on, let me do this. Hey, the fancy intro bits. We're up and running. So hello, I'm Stephen Allen. It's a day. It's not only a day, it's the day we're back. We took a few days off for, I believe these days you have to call it multi-denominational festivalmas. So we had that. That was nice. Well, because I like to celebrate multi-denominational festivalmas to celebrate the birth of Jesus. There you go. I'm not religious. I'm just, pro doing things in mangers. So hello and welcome to the show where I like to go through the news. As you will notice, there's not a lot of news betwixt Christmas and New Year. We'll address that issue at some point. Plus, also, if you're watching the live stream on YouTube, I can't remember how you do these things, then you can get involved in the chat. Yeah? If you listen to the audio-only version, you won't give two figs about the fact that the chat looks slightly different. I've not managed to get the background dark enough. It slightly goes darker when I load it in. I'll work on that. But look at this. New fonts, baby. Thank you. And also I can get to read more of it over here, not that you care about that. Let's have a look. Proper Memes also already says, I prefer multi-dimensional holidays because it includes aliens. I suppose it would. More on that later. In a sense, all holidays are multidimensional because it requires the dimension of time to delineate one day from another. Thusly, it is at least four-dimensional. I like to celebrate the birth of Jesus in space-time. Who else have we got here as well? Charlotte's here saying Loving Dead. I think I've missed quite a lot of chat because I set this thing open earlier on. I'd love to, Joodles. Well, hang on, what's happening there? Something's all right. Everyone's meeting up. Tarduck, I'm still sending love. Night of the Loving Dreads, says Proper Memes, for no good reason by the looks of it. At some point, I'll catch up there. Ems is here. Donald Trump has made you change fonts. Yes, that's probably what's happened there. Do you like the fonts? I will, look. And also now I can easily lean in the wrong place, and it's not as bad as it used to be. Well, more on that later. So you can keep your chats coming through. What have I done since? Nothing. I had a Christmas. I ate way too much food. This shirt used to be too big to broadcast in, and we're getting there. So let's get into some of the stuff that's in the things, shall we? Let's do the front pages. Can anyone remember how you do this show?
Here are today's front pages.
Not a bad start. We're certainly heading in the right direction on that one. And look, I can still load in the front pages. The Times, how to burn fat fast. Isn't that, there's just a comma missing there, isn't it? How to burn fat fast. There you go. You're up to date. Solar grants for millions to cut home energy use. I don't know if this is absolute BS or whatevs, but millions of homeowners will be eligible for grants to install solar panels, heat pumps. By the way, heat pump used to be my username in some chat rooms, and battery storage. That was not my username in. Anyway, I'll have you know, to create zero bill homes. It won't work, but if it's a grant that I get money for, yeah. I would willingly have solar panels on this shed studio just to make it look like the future. I don't care. I told you my theory on heat pumps. The reason they're ridiculously expensive, it's basically just aircon, right? That's how it works. It's like a fridge. It's the adiabatic expansion of gas, and I think we all know what that is. And basically it's like aircon, like the shed studio has. The problem is it doesn't make water hot enough to make your radiators efficient. So it costs loads refitting all the radiators in your house. Whereas if you still had a gas boiler, so the heat pump will get your water up to about 40 degrees. You want it at 60. If you just used a gas boiler to get it from 40 to 60, you could keep what you've got. You'd use, I don't know, like a third of the gas, 2/3 less. And it's better, isn't it? I think I'm making the world better, but because I do this kind of show, no one ever listens to me. More on that later. Front page of the Telegraph. Zionist out to get me, claims extremist. Have you heard of this story? The Egyptian prisoner in a deportation row because he tweeted some nasty things. In fact, we've actually got the story somewhere. If we want to see what's inside the newspapers. Yeah, did not plan on going to this. You know what? We'll find it later. You know the story anyway. So he tweeted some stuff about, wanting to kill people, and was rejoiced when he came over here because he's a British citizen. I mean, he gained British citizenship whilst in prison. That's where the real story is. Who are we handing these citizenship. But anyway, maybe that's a phone in for a different show. So he tweeted some nasty things. And you can't. Look, this government doesn't care what you tweet. Unless you tweet stuff about migrants, in which case you could go to court. And obviously it's not like, don't worry about it. When a jury of your peers has a look at your trial, they'll be like, yeah, of course you won't get the right to a jury pretty soon. So, but other than that, as long as you're not tweeting that, I don't care about what you tweet. So I don't know why everyone's upset about this story. Unless it's Gary Lineker. For some reason, everyone cares about his tweets. So, I don't know, more front pages. Was there anything else in there I wanted to talk about? Nah. And then Pride of England Lionesses lead New Year's honours. More on the honours system in a second, but I just recently was on Talk Radio TV, whatever it's called, having a rant about this. Can we just get rid of the New Year's honours? Especially when it's for sports people who did a sporty thing. And because it's not like you dedicate an entire life to something and you get your award when you're in your 90s. Oh, you won a thing. Here, have the medal for winning it and also have some damehood or whatever. And you know my theory, I don't care about football, so I don't watch football. In general, that means I don't bond with men. During the Qatar World Cup, it means somehow I was some sort of conscientious objector. And during women's football, I'm misogynist. It's weird, isn't it? And yeah, I'm still just not caring about football. But I think they've already done enough. Do you know what I mean? They've already been given enough. They have a train line named after them, the Lionesses, which does mean I once got to use the sentence, yeah, I came on the Lionesses this morning, which is, all right. But I think it's unfair because the men's football don't have any train lines named after them, and they've been playing football for ages. I think the men's England team should have HS2 named after them because it's way more expensive and it's kind of pointless, and it seems fitting. So you're up to date. Proper Memes on this already says, Pride of Lionesses. Yeah. Why didn't they? Oh, the I newspaper. You're for shame, I newspaper. It also says, we have a heat pump plus 25-year-old cast iron rads. Radiator's too much to type. Fair enough. And the house heats up just fine. But I'm in a stone cottage. Stone cold cottage. Judel says, I definitely remember splutter laughing at the fact you were called heat pump. That one wasn't one of the jokes. This is a very serious broadcast, as someone pointed out earlier on. Charlotte says, missed you. I missed you too. I miss doing these, honestly. This is technically getting out of the house for me. Proper Meme says, Lord Allen fan club meeting was cancelled in Homestead. Wasn't Lord Allen... Well, no, it was Ray Allen and Lord Charles. I feel like that name's already gone. And Paul Chuckle needs an honour. Were you not shocked to find out that Chuckle wasn't his real surname? How much have I been living in naive denial? They were like, Paul's, whatever his name is. I was like, Paul Chuckle? The Chuckle brothers? It wasn't their surname. Because there was Paul and Barry Chuckle, and there was the other Chuckle, wasn't there? It was the brother who married a much younger woman. And all the newspapers called him like Chris Chuckle. I thought it was their name. It's not. And Chris Hood says, I've been censored again. Have you? Or it could just be that we can't read the thing because I've made it way too light. Back into the front pages. 1 in 3 believe Britishness is independent of being born in the UK, says the Guardian. So I imagine they don't like it. Polls reveal a rise in ethno-nationalist approach to identity. Do you want me to just fix this for you and have it over and done with? And obviously people disagree because not everyone's clever. But let's take the word Jewish. Just for a second, calm down. Don't send tweets about wanting me dead. You know how it can mean 3 different things: a religion, a culture, and an ethnicity. Isn't that amazing, right? So let's just admit that a word can have more than one meaning, as they say in Stairway to Heaven. Now let's take the word British, that it could be both a nationality and a culture. So it's the same. So you could be one type of British without being both types of British. You're up to date. Can't believe it was that difficult. You know what I mean? I think that's it for the front pages. Judel says, you're so naughty, Chris. Is this Chris who just lives down the road from you? You want to put up a stairgate. You be careful. And Charlotte says, this will always be the year I'll remember the side cam special. There it is. There it is. Oh, change the transition as well now. We fade in and out. Don't upset Josh. I don't think I am upsetting Josh. It's true, isn't it? That word could mean 3 things, and therefore British can mean 2 things. Yeah? Heat pump means 2 things. Neither one is a religion or It's kind of a culture. Depends which part of the internet you're on. Anyway, what we're talking about. Keep your messages coming through. Front page is done. I guess we have to do this now.
Let's get inside the news.
You're up to date. I have not organised this pile. However, for those enjoying the show on a long-term basis, previously I've been moaning about the fact that you couldn't get some of the wider stories into the thing, the bit where I try and view it. I do now. Made it wider. Look, now I can fit the... Oh, look at the space available to me now. Read 'em and weep. I pulled a trick on Van Gerwen. I don't understand darts. I don't understand this story. Let's see what we can do. The new boyfriend of darts ace Michael Van Gerwen's ex-wife. Oh, already I need a flow diagram. So, we know there's a darts player, Michael. He had a wife, but it's not the wife anymore. So he divorces the wife and the wife gets a new boyfriend. Okay, we're up to date. Pulled a trick on him over their miracle baby. Now I'm worried where this story's going. The Dutch star, Van Gerwen, famous for their ovens, broke up with Daphne Govers at the end of May. All right, we're up to date. They had been married for a decade and have 2 kids aged 7 and 5. But we told yesterday how his ex, Daphne, was expecting a baby with a new partner. Oh, in January. What? That's not... Because for a second there, I thought the story was going to be like, oh, they tried for a kid and the miracle baby. Turns out he's not the dad. It's not really doing a trick, is it? You're having a baby with your current partner. How is this a news story? What? I think it would have been a better story if it was about how darts players can struggle to conceive. There are certain sports where conception is harder, and darts is one of them. It is harder to conceive if you're a darts player, because they like to finish on double top. All right. Suit yourself. Darts news, says Joodles in the comment. I don't understand darts. We can't do a lot of darts. We'll see what we can do here. Here we go. Astronauts ET real. Nearly all space experts reckon that aliens exist and modern tech will find them. You know my thoughts on this. I'm not incredibly sure that we should be trying to find aliens. I'm a little bit worried about it, if I'm brutally honest. Let's try and move this to the side. Before we get too far into alien news, of course, we should say... So, 2/3 of experts believe that aliens, highly intelligent aliens, are out there. What you mean is they had a guess. We don't know, do we? They've had a guess. In a case, they're experts, but they're having a guess. 67% think that the critters are complex or intelligent. That depends what you mean by intelligent. I mean, in theory, there's intelligent life down here because some people can tie their shoelaces. I am worried about aliens. I know I used to do this back when I was on Time FM, where we'd have sketches based on this, right? That aliens can receive signals from Earth. And we have been broadcasting electromagnetic radiation for radio and TV signals, just beaming out there. And that, in theory, those EM waves propagate through space forever. They take a long while to get there. They travel at the speed of light. But aliens could have been watching all of our radio or TV and listening to our radio output to learn about us. Now, I used to say I worried about them replying on the frequency because I used to broadcast on 100.7 megahertz, and if they pick that one, it would interfere. I don't have to worry about this on YouTube. If it weren't for the fact that aliens are pretty darned advanced. So the chance that they might have been watching our TV output and then one day decide to hack into the internet, which uses satellites, I'm sure they could do it. There is a strong chance that I'll be sat here broadcasting one day and all of a sudden the channel will be interrupted by some sort of alien and I'll be thinking, well, you can still hear what I say, but I wouldn't.
Earthlings, we have been monitoring your radio and television broadcast to learn about your species. We do not understand darts. Is this a useful skill? Do you need to defend yourself in case your pizzas one day rise up against you? Maybe we won't visit.
Back into me talking. I wouldn't realise that you didn't watch what I just said. So it's difficult now, isn't it? Who knows if that will ever happen? But I do fear that it might happen one day. So you're up to date with that story. Somebody in the comments. Chris Hood says, science news. Yes, science news. I can't remember where I've loaded in all the science things these days. I probably haven't. I tried to update that. Hang on. No, it's worth waiting for. No, Blue. Other production. No, go. No, bear with.
Science Corner.
Adiabatic. Yeah. As we all know from the ideal gas equation, PV equals nRT, pressure times volume equals the number of moles of gas. R is the ideal gas constant, T is the temperature. That if you change the volume, if you rapidly change the volume, one of the ways to make that equation still work is for the temperature to change. Adiabatic expansion. We're up to date. Let's have a look. RF signals would decay by the square root rule. They will in terms of intensity, and also due to the expansion of space, their frequency will change because the space gets longer, the space that they're traveling through gets longer, so the frequency will drop, which is why background radiation is all microwave these days. However, they can still pick it up. They're still getting the photons, man. They're still getting the photons. Joodle says, lol, no idea what that was about. And Chris Hood says, that's about it, everybody. We're very much going into this. Proper Meme says, Alan Alien Love Affair is Starlink cross lovers. I'm up there with the best of them. Oh, Chris is, we're getting into it now. Physics, adjective relating to or denoting a process or condition in which heat does not enter or leave a system concern the adiabatic expansion of a perfect gas. It's a perfect gas if R the ideal gas equation, if we're using that, the ideal gas constant. Of course, you could use a different constant to model the action of real gases. Of course you could. Of course you could. Teach you to suck eggs here, aren't I? All right, and we're up to date. Back into the front pages. Not the front pages. Billionaire Bill Gates warned of nightmare outcomes of AI if it's exploited by dark forces. Which, do I have a cup here?
Leave him to me. I will deal with him myself.
Better than that espresso guff we had the other day, isn't it? Yeah. Yep. My prediction for 2025, 26, whichever, is there will be an AI story that just scares us. Right now, the scariest thing that happens in AI is my face at the end of the intro, isn't it, Proper Memes? I think we can all agree. Should you play the intro again? The thing that happens... Everyone keep watching. In fact, I can probably zoom towards the end. No, I
Here
can't.
comes the news with a twist and a grin. Stephen Allen diving in
Loaded in
again. Almost daily, but always sharp. He'll hit your brain like a
This
lightning
is
storm.
slightly scarier here, isn't it? My head doesn't quite fit where it should. It doesn't look like me as well. That's good. Eyes are starting to bulge out like I've got some sort of problem with my thyroid, an AI thyroid, and this is the one. Already, AI can model difficult poos. We're up to date. So that's what happens. Bill Gates was right. Let's have a look. Christmas sprouts produced a lot of adiabatic. I can't do it now. Adiabatic perfect gas. Yeah. Is it Friday? Is this because it's a bit of a sloppy show, or is it because? No, it's a sloppy show, isn't it? Of course it is. You know, I said there was no news in the news. See if we. This is as zoomed in as we can get these days. Tim's a smash as Mart. Timothy Chalamet performed unbelievably well at ping pong. How is that in the news? How is this show not written about in the news? Because all you got there is someone played ping pong, and that was on page 3 of a tabloid. Someone could have this, write about this, why don't you? TV quiz dumbs down for stars. Mastermind's been accused of dumbing down questions during a celebrity Christmas special. Well, they've got to. Do you not remember the David Lammy one? I mean, literally, when your questions are, who came after Henry the Seventh, whatever it was, and their guess is Henry the Sixth, you think, we better dumb this down. This is... And this is what we've known this for ages. If you watch the celebrity version of anything, the questions are easier. And that's one of the main reasons I've tried to pursue fame. I don't want the adoration. I certainly don't want the CBE. I'd really love it that if I went on a quiz show, I'd stand a chance. Because when I'm watching the celebrity ones, I do all right. When I'm watching the real ones, so either I'm like quite intelligent for a celeb, or I'm not famous enough for the level of dumbness I've got. Could be any of those, couldn't it? Stroke of AI genius, says Proper Memes. What? Yeah, it is. I don't know who does the AI on this show, but it's a level of genius to try and make me look like I'm absolutely just squirting one out right at the end of the intro. You can get a cream for that, says Chris Hood. Probably can. What, the adiabatic expansion of gas? Speaking of creams, that's not what the next story is, but it feels like that could be. Oh, let's do this one. Doesn't quite fit this way, but Heidi Klum has a dry sense of humour as she uses a towel with her husband's face on it. Which is funny, but maybe don't do that when your face looks a little bit like Jesus. Because then it's an offensive towel. It's the Turin towel, isn't it? It looks like you've got a shroud. Also, it's all very well when you've got like Heidi Klum money, you can afford to get specially made high cotton thread count towels made. I can't do that. All I could afford was to get my missus's face put on toilet roll. And apparently that is to be frowned upon. Not the gift she was expecting. What have we got here? More entertainment news. Shape of Lou. This is an Ed Sheeran story, thank God. Superstar Ed Sheeran stepped away from music after craze fans tried to peek at his privates in the loo. That depends. That's not the fact that you are a musician. That's the fact that you've been going in the wrong toilets. There are toilets where people will have a little look because it's that kind of toilets. Ed, if that is your real name, you know when you're in the toilet and there's a little hole? Don't do that. There are some motorway service areas where you see a little hole like that and you're like, What I don't get about that, and this is not the place to discuss it, is that they're in the gents. If that were a hole that connects the gents to the ladies, there's a chance I might be interested. But it's you've drilled through the wrong hole, the wrong door. Do you know what I mean? Whoever's in the next trap next to you, it's got to be some surly, it depends what you're into. You know what? I'm not here to judge. I am, aren't I? The hairy mouth is strategically positioned. I've screwed it up now. It'll look even worse. Beard news. And Jubal says, for how hard I'm laughing. What's Chris done that's making you laugh now? Hang on. I can't. You can get a cream for that. I see. Are we talking about adiabatic expansion? I'm sure there was some of the clips that I wanted to play in here. We've definitely played in the alien one. You're right. This is like a Friday show, isn't it? Oh, we were going to... Oh, it's because it's inside of here. Hang on. Oh, no, we've already covered this story. He's the guy who AIDS get blame over extremists. Yeah, that's the story. I'm sure I was going to talk about why I don't like the honours list. Should I have played the clip earlier? Well, I'll play the clip now. I was on Talk TV earlier, so I thought I'd load in a clip, seeing as we can do clips. Just in case you were thinking, am I ever trying to pursue the honours thing? Nah. Here's what I said earlier. Shows. Yeah, I mean, look, he's the headline one, and he is the exception to the rule. No one should receive it for services to entertainment, because if you've managed to have your dream job turn into an actual career, you've won the flipping lottery already. Why do you want something on top of it? Do you know what I mean? You're right, he didn't get it for services to entertainment. He got it for what's called services to young people, which they should change that. That sounds a bit 1970s, doesn't it? But his work to try and stop knife crime is great. There is a slight irony that the reward you get for trying to battle knife crime is a big man come at you with a sword later on, but, you know, we can move that to one side. But good point, well made if you ask me, but what do I know? Right, in the comment sections. Everyone's laughing at Chris. I'm not sure what's happening. I missed them. I'm going to have to read this back later. Then we have this story. Labour MPs are getting the chop from hairdressers in revenge for Rachel Reeves' Grinch budget. Previously, we had the story that Labour MPs were being banned from various pubs, including Clarkson's. And I think there was a validity to that. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can ban whoever you want from a pub. You're barred. If you don't like it, ban them. And it's not like they were going to go in there anyway. I think I said this on the old telly box. If Rachel Reeves went in a pub, she must be aware of how much she's not liked by landlords. You wouldn't drink the drink there, would you? You'd have something that was a bottle with the lid still on. Otherwise, you'd be drinking a lot of spit. You'd order a pint, it would arrive, and you're like, is this a cask ale? Because it's kind of weird. The head on it is a weird cask ale vibe. People would be flobbing your drink. Now it's this one. Apparently, they're not going to be allowed into hairdressers because of the tax on them. At some point, Labour MPs are going to look dishevelled for the wrong reason. There are two reasons to look like that. You've not had an haircut in a while, or you had a big night out. The Labour Party going the wrong way. Right, I've got to rattle through these. I'm not sure about this story. Whoa! Put them away. Naked hot pot shindig. Fairly sure I don't understand those words either, but naked Brits are set to kiss goodbye to 2025 in their birthday suits at a hot pot-fueled nudist New Year's Eve party for just £12.50 a head, so the men pay twice. Am I right? Naturists can strip off at a luxury exclusive club. Is this on the A1? Because there's a lot of weird... There's sex people then. Happens up the A1, doesn't it? Have you driven up the A1? You get out of Hertfordshire, you're into Bedfordshire or wherever it is, and there's there's a hotel called the Vanilla Alternative. You shouldn't be allowed to call it that, because if you're into desserts, you'd be thinking, oh, do you know what? I do like ice creams. Darling, should we go there? And the next thing, you're having a very different night. There's also all the Shex shops up the A1. Why are they always on the A1? As if anyone's driving up to Peterborough going, oh, you know what I forgot? Me double-headed plug, whatever I don't know what you'd have. I imagine they're adapters. And you think, oh, it's all right, you don't need to drive back for it. Just get one on the old Shex shop. And then you get further up the A1 and there's more. You A1 people, you Shex people then. So back to the story before we go into the comments. Is saying that naked Brits are celebrating. Look, here's what I don't get about nudists. You can enjoy being naked. That's your thing, right? Great. That's your bag, as we can all see. Why do you enjoy doing it with other people having a look at you? Can we just be honest about that? Who's sitting there going, yeah, really, it's freeing. This whole nude thing's really freeing. I'll tell you what's missing. Other people who can see me. You know what I mean? If only we had thousands of Turkish barbers on the high street all over the country. That could really help it, couldn't it? I think. Yep. So no Sir Steve, says Proper Memes. So that thumbnail was fake too. I don't know who's doing all the fakes. Fake news. Like a dog. And Charlotte says, it's wet here too, but for different reasons. I don't know what we're talking about. Proper Memes, later of plugs, Steve's next gig is in Prescott. Is that the A1? Only Glands again. And it feels like a safe space, Chris. Not sure this place is. New Year. Speaking of New Year's, 6 in 10 adults are not bothered about New Year's Eve, a poll found. 3/4 rated a night in more fun than spending £116 going out. Gen Zs, who are now, by the way, in case you want to feel old, aged up to 28. Millennials are up to 44. Oh, my days. Do you remember when millennials was the phrase newspapers used for young people? They're more likely to attend a house party. What? How's that going to happen? They don't own any. Maybe they're coming around here. That is the good thing about being Generation X. That's the only way anyone's going to own a property is to marry up. Naming cats and dogs. Singer Charlie XCX, which I believe in Roman numerals is still 100. They've done that wrong. And model Bella Hadid have become inspiration for pet names. Bella was the #1 choice of name for both cats and dogs in 2025. Why do we presume that it's named after Bella Hadid? Because unless you've called your cat or dog Hadid, there are other Bellas. What about Emberg? Yeah? They're effectively the same. They're two women, both notable for their looks. Bella Emberg. Am I right, fellas? I'm not sure I am right. That's happened. That's pressed that a few times. Postman Pat gets sacked. Darts. Postman Pat has been packed off as Royal Mail is now advertising for post persons. I wrote, if you're in the Wiltshire area, get a copy of today's Swindon Advertiser and my newspaper columns in there. It'll come out in other places as well. How is this even a story? We stopped calling postman decades ago. Postie. It's a phrase. Sounds like a mix between a toastie and a post. You wouldn't want to eat it, which is true of both the food and the postman. But yeah, postmen, postwomen, we've been using that phrase for ages, and they've said postpersons. Who gives a flip? We also have the phrase postmistress, which is erotic. But depends what kind of mistress we're talking about, isn't it? You will deliver the... And finally, call to tag boatman. Police commissioner wants all male asylum seekers to be electronically tagged. Katie Here's the problem. It's this government. In the same way that digital ID was mooted as an idea to sort out issues of people who don't have documents to work, and then everyone ends up with it when they won't. If this government brought in a scheme to electronically tag men who've come across the channel, somehow I'd be the only one left wearing it. Everyone who's just arrived, of course you can't expect them to wear it, but every other guy, yeah. No, thank you. Right. I think you're up to date. We've covered all the news stories that you needed. Proper Meme says, New Year's Eve is the worst. It's when all the amateur drinkers are out. I used to work in hospitality, and the best night was the night after New Year's Eve when the professionals were out. Not the TV show people. Is that what happened? They jumped across there. They shouldn't be driving. I nearly said jumped across their bonnet. That would have made more sense if I'd let myself finish the sentence before doing the joke. Joodles, you're my fave chatters, M. You're hilarious. What's M been up to now? Bella from the Tweenies. I still think Emberg's the erotic one. Am I right? Is that like post-turtle? Does your post-mistress pop her head out? Is that what's happening? Proper Memes. When the affair is over, she's then the post-mistress. Hey! Right. I did ask for people to get in touch with... I want to do it over here. I did ask for people to... Oh, stay there. In the camera. The black and white's back. I did ask for people to get in touch with your stories of the year, and 2 people did. So let's get in on that. If we go back to... It's not quite what... I've not quite nailed this. Thank you, Proper Memes, for a few stories here. The story of a man who had a stroke after drinking 8 cans of energy drink. I should be able to find this. Hang on. Energy drink of the day. It's stored here somewhere.
Energy drink of the day.
What happened?
Yawns and the slumps away. Crack a can, hear it fizz and spray. Wake me up, take me away.
Anyway, there's that story. 8 a day gives you a stroke. Yeah. Because you shouldn't drink 8 of these a day. The annoying part of the story that Proper Memes sent me is that because of this guy who drank 8 of these a day and had a stroke, some experts are saying we need tighter restrictions. We don't need tighter restrictions on this. And I'll tell you why. I'd like to be able to flip and buy one. There's nothing more embarrassing than me popping in a W.H. Smith's or whatever they're called now, TJ Hooker, and you try and buy one, and you have to, some little oik has to come over and like age approve you. They're already strictly... You know what? The fact that I'm paying for it on a credit card should mean I'm allowed to have one of these. And if I want 8, it's my own stupid fault. This one's a great story as well. The person who restored the picture, you can see the picture down there, was died this year. The newspapers had a pull-out section of all the people who died in 2025. Famous people, not all the people. That would be massive, wouldn't it? But yeah, that was pretty massive. It was a whole page of loads. I thought we don't have time to go through it. And then I turned the page, and there were 3 times more coverage. A lot of people died this year. You're up to date. But she died, and everyone pointed out that she made the picture look more like her than Jesus. You know what? Charity begins at home, or something like that. We lost some of these stories here. Thanks to Chris, who sent through some of these. The London Science Museum saying that Lego is anti-LGBTQ+. You can find a video on this on my YouTube channel. And it is basically exactly what you think, because one sticky out bit goes in a hole of another. They say it's heteronormative. Like, headphone jacks and doing that with your fingers. Have a look at my video. I think I'll make an interesting point. There's also, what else? There was some others. We're not going to go through all of Chris's suggestions. But, the shopkeeper who was advised to remove a sign calling thieves scumbags. You can read one of my Substacks on that. Because you wouldn't want to call scumbags scumbags. They might be offended. They might not go to your shop and nick your stuff. So there we go. Also, the story of the patriotic British girl banned for school from Culture Day. I wrote about that on my Substack as well. There was a story in here somewhere. Is our PM banging Ukrainian rent boys? Which I think as a question is legal. Because I'm not saying yes or no. So I don't think I can get sued for repeating a question that someone else. And, this is the other clip. NHS guidelines claim that cousin marriage has benefits. There is a clip of me talking about cousin marriage. And let's get rid of this. I think I can track down where it is, because I was on Francis Foster's podcast earlier this year. Go and watch the whole episode. It was lovely. Go and watch all the other episodes because other comedians are better. Here's a clip from that. On that, I felt on comfier ground when I knew what was wrong. And now, you can't imply sleeping with your cousin's bad because you might be offending a religious minority. And Norfolk. But still, whenever you want to feel better about yourself, you look at people like Albert Einstein. So clever, we all feel stupid. But he married a cousin. So I'm better than him in that way. But
no. You don't know how fit this cousin is.
No, I've seen pictures. You're up to date on that one. All right. Who have we got happening in the thing over here? Charlotte says, nobody cares that I'm leaving. Are you leaving? I thought we've only just found out that you've broken your ribs. What have I missed? I should explain post-turtle via the means of Twitter later. Yeah, something to look forward to. Joodles is happy with the black and white. I need to find a way of making it grainier. We'll get on that. And let's have a look. Nobody play with my side cam. That's mine, all mine. Says Charlotte. And Chris says, that Chris is not me, by the way. Which Chris? What? I was wondering, Chris, who's all Chris's? Well, it's too confusing for me to work out what's going on over there. I think we are just about up to date. We've taken 39 minutes of your time to do this. We're kind of back. Was there another story? Oh, the Chris, well, yeah, on social. Oh, do you know what? There is one more that we could have a quick look at, which is thanks to Alan for getting in touch. I asked the stories of the year, and he says, it's not that positive, but the loss of radio legends, Johnny Walker, Andy Peebles, offshore radio legends from the 1960s, Tom Edwards and Colin Berry, also on Radio 2, Dave Monk, BBC Essex presenter, died. Do you know what? As someone who used to do way more radio than I do, these stories are making me thinking, not got long left, have I? Man alive. Tick-tock, tick-tock, blimey. All of the radio stations I presented on, other than BBC ones, have now all shut down. And one of those old has-beens, GWR in Wiltshire, no longer a thing. 102.7 Mercury FM, that's gone. Time FM's gone. Heartbeat in Hertfordshire. Where else did I work? Love Sport, that one's gone. I didn't love sport, it's my own fault. I don't think I helped. So we're just about up to date. So there we go. Thank you for your stories. Thank you. There are no plugs. I was going to do where you can see me. If you look on Twitter, I didn't get time to write anything out. Plus also, I think I'm on Thursday night on GB News reviewing the newspapers. And Friday morning, 11 o'clock, I'll be on 5 Live from the home studio with Adrian Childs, looking forward to predictions of next year. I don't know. Something about AI, I imagine. But New Year's Day, I don't think I can do one. Joodles came up with a theory that maybe I should try and do another one of these. Maybe Friday, we might do a Friday Live and Loose. But given that I'll be off air on 5 Live at like 11:59 as they talk up the ramp into the news, I can make it in time, but I really will not be prepared. But you're really okay with that, aren't you? Charlotte says, I'm here now, but I'm leaving in January. Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. You still have the internet wherever you're going, don't you? Chris Hood says, we care. Yeah, he's laying on the old smooth. Radio station's got the Steve curse, says Proper Memes. That is true. If there's a radio station you don't like, try and get me some cover wet there, and I will shut that mother down. And I think we're up to date. Happy New Year to our Steve, says Joodles. Thanks for the last. Thank you for watching some of this. I've got to do the thing of saying, go to kofi.com/Mr. Stephen Allen. Didn't make an advert for today, but you know what? Thank you to everyone who supported it through the year. Don't even worry about today's one. This has just been getting back into it and seeing if the font looks good. Next year, we will be experimenting with doing more of these shows, maybe some nighttime ones. I think we've got all the kit going these days. We've got everything we need. So I reckon 2026 could be our year. We could make this a thing. We'll see, won't we? You never know. Charlotte says no internet where I'm going. Where are you off to? Prison? Because if you are, I don't think that you could have a phone call. You could call into the show. I think you're allowed one phone call. So we could... This mixing desk is set up to take calls. I'm not sure that would be a wise thing. That's almost worth experimenting with next year. Should we start taking callers? Loved it, Steve. Thank you for those. Charlotte, thank you. Thank you to everyone who's done some watching of this over the last however. Toodles, Steve says, Chris. Totally. Right, enjoy yourself a new year. And at some point, we'll do something in the new year, probably Friday, if not the week before. What's happening over here? Till next time, bye.
Here comes the news with a twist and a grin. Stephen Allen diving in again. Almost daily, but always sharp. He'll hit your brain like a lightning spark.